Good evening or good morning, depending on where you at in the world. It is actually 12:54 as I'm recording this. My wife and child are asleep, so it's actually better that I can do this without the major distractions. My apologies. And this is the Entertainment Roundup. There are going to be a few announcements about the Entertainment Roundup, so I want to get to that right away. In case you're wondering why there hasn't been many Entertainment Roundup episodes that I normally post, that's because we're closing in on the mid-season finale. After the end of November, there will be no videos until the end of January on the Entertainment Roundup side, and that will just make room for a delayed flashback review. It was originally going to be October, but I decided not to stress the soup because I have other obligations and responsibility to allow the Entertainment Roundup to actually have the mid-season finale, so I can actually push the flashback review as one of the main focus. I've already recorded a couple episodes, so they're ready to go. It's a matter of coming out at the appropriate time and date, as well as some current films that are not there with the flashback, but still relevant to talk about, in which I have also delayed recently just to get the Entertainment Roundup done and over with. Also, it's better for me to do this as a time management to see what I can and cannot do and how much I can stress for, because remember, I got to be a responsible parent. I have a job that I have to maintain as well as getting some sleep. So just doing this will give me an idea of what I can do with the time that I actually got. So that's why you haven't seen any midweek show or even the weekend roundup as consistent as you know, because I feel one show will actually cover for a while, and if I need something to talk about, it'll just build up to this show. That's why you haven't seen Entertainment Roundup as big, and it's going to be the grand mid-season finale at the end of November, right after Thanksgiving. So, with that being said, that is one of the reasons why. Also, I am trying to find a podcast service for me and Josh again. We had to put everything on hiatus because, as you guys know, Google Hangouts is no more. Instead, we do have Google Podcasts. It's not the same. I'm having difficulty trying to even get it on my computer, but as soon as I can get it, I can able to utilize it, see if it works for us, and if it's a good product that we can do, then fine. But if not, we have to find other means to do our podcast show, whether it be just audio or anything else. I do want to go back to it. It's just a matter of actually trying to figure out the best appropriate way. Right now we're on hiatus because the service we used to have, for some reason, no longer exists. I don't know why. I didn't think it was perfect, but it was actually one of the best things Google have done, and they decided to get rid of it. I don't know if it was because it was linked to Google Plus, which was a complete disaster, but people liked it Hangout, so the fact that it's no longer there, this really is annoying. Very, very annoying. With that being said, we're looking forward. We're trying. I haven't communicated with Josh in a while, but I am going to try and talk to her later on next week, as soon as I actually recover from what I consider to be a up and down cold, which is annoying the hell out of me. But I am going to try and get in contact with her. With that being said, I just want to give you guys a little update of what's going on and what's happening. John Witherspoon has passed away. He was 77 years old. It was announced on I believe, on a Thursday, and I was very saddened to hear his passing. Normally, I have made a new rule not to really bring up passings of movie stars, not because pretty much it's the same old, same old. I will probably mention it on Twitter and use it as part of my new phase in terms of how I use social media. But I wanted to talk about this because he was a big part of our lives. Whether you have seen Boondocks, him playing Granddad, or the Friday films, or pretty much the stand-up comedy, I have known him best for the Fridays, as well as playing in the Wayne's Brothers TV show, where he owned, I believe, a newsstand, and he was very good. I actually liked him and what Marlon and Damon Marlon Wayans and Damon Wayne have done together when they actually were a mix. They had a great chemistry together, and I actually enjoyed his stuff. I am, very, very sad to hear it. A lot of people have voiced their sadness. Ice Cube The Wayans brothers, pretty much anyone who has worked with him on a business-like basis. He was not shy to talk about criticism. He was not shy to talk about elitists either. He was a very, very well-spoken man, but he was also a guy who was always about entertainment. And, we lost a great legend. There hasn't been any information on how he passed. For what I understand, his wife I think did it via by Twitter, and said that he had died in his home, and that's how people have found out. They have not determined the cause of death. If I am a gambling man, I think it's just natural causes. That will pretty much most likely be the cause. Again, but it's just sad. Another one of my stars that I grew up with is gone. Makes me look at my age a lot more than ever before. There has, however, which I'm kind of disappointed in some ways. I was kind of disappointed that the media has been very minuscule about it. There was only very few YouTubers have talked about it, at least from what I've been seeing. I was also very disappointed that Double Toasted hasn't picked up on it. I was very, very surprised. I was hoping that Double Toasted will at least bring it up, at least have some dialogue about it. They have done it with many, many stars before, so I was a little bit taken by the fact that they have not talked about the passing of a comedic icon like John Witherspoon. I was very, very surprised, and yeah, I would say disappointed. They have talked about everybody, from the girl who played the mother. And look, she deserved that respect. She is everybody's favorite mom from the Brady Bunch. Miss Henderson, from the Prince, through a lot of stars. So not hearing them actually talk about it, and it's been 4 days. Let's be realistic. It's not like it's been 24 hours ago. It has been now 4 days, and nothing has come up. Now I understand they are going through a transition. I understand that they are themselves are very busy with the stuff they're going through with Twitch. But I expected them at least to give something of a comment or something of a commentary about what has happened. Even if it's not within a studio format, I will at least think that that Corey Coleman himself would have mentioned it, pretty much off scripted, raw, and just give his own honest opinion about it. So I was a bit disappointed. Obviously, I can't be too disappointed. It is their platform, it's their show, and they can choose to talk about whatever they want to talk about. But I was just kind of surprised and taken about it, about them not bringing it up. But nevertheless, he is going to be missed. I'm hoping that he does get a good send off from both families and friends, and I hope people remember for the work he has done. There has been some videos, classic videos of interviews that they have done in the past, and I hope that people will actually see these videos, because they're very, very deep, and it really gets into his mindset about Hollywood and why he have chosen to do stand-up comedy the way he is. There has been some bitterness a little bit with the way he was paid for certain projects and how he was typecast as the grumpy grandfather from the Friday movies. But overall, when he came, he performed, and he always gave his best, and I salute him for that. So, John Witherspoon again, he's going to be deeply missed. Passing away at 77, and I'm hoping one maybe down the road, who knows, that Double Toasted will at least give their 2 cents. I always like to hear what they have to say. They always bring a comic spin on it. They always celebrate, so that's probably one of the reasons why I'm also very, very disappointed when they didn't really bring him up on their site. Can't get too mad again. They have their choices like I do, whether they want to talk about it or not, but I just felt it was something that should have been at least brought up in future in some of their shows. All right, let's get this over. The gaming world has always seemed to never cease to amaze me with YouTube. I watch more gaming news and gaming commentary about the ins and outs of the politics on YouTube more than anything else on YouTube, period. It has become something of second nature to me. And there's a reason for it, because it really, the guys, whatever their motive is, really shows the ugliness of the practices a lot of these publishers have, and the political on-site that they also have with the people who they choose to do business with. Blizzard is being one. Fallout 76 is another. And I call Fallout 76 because, let's be honest, that's a standalone thing. I won't get the Fallout 76 because it has been a year, and I'm still hearing about this, about what's been going on with Fallout 76. They did a Fallout First subscription, which they really had no business doing. To me, that is just a nickel and dime strategy that should be hated by everyone and anyone. And I always said, as long as you keep buying into their nonsense, they're going to keep doing what they're doing. And that has been a problem why they are continuing. And they're using the old method, this is what you wanted, to actually justify their con scheme game that is still broken, still can't be played, and they're just barely hanging on by the fan base they do have. And quote another YouTuber, if they want to enjoy the game, that's their discretion, that's fine. I hope they have fun. I'm hoping that it's worth every penny they have. But the fact is, I take very seriously of charging me something that is not completed, that is completely broken, unplayable, and then you have the nerve to say I don't even have any refunds. That is something else that has been going on with this game. Well, Australia have actually laid down the hammer and said that they do have to refund people who have asked for it at a specific date, and they have to apply by that. It was also revealed by their parent company, whose name escapes me, which, by the way, is not surprising because Bethesda don't always do business in these countries. They do have contractors or those who sub-license to other software to release their game. So in the U.S. could be Bethesda, other country could be Illumination or other publishing company that's for that region. So it is really that kind of business. It's been going on for years. So I'm not surprised to hear a different name, not Bethesda, but they're also going by the same policies of Bethesda. Yes, I'm saying it wrong. Sue me. They don't deserve my respect at this point. But the ruling pretty much bring a very, 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 very disturbing light into the fold, where yeah, they was deceiving people on how they can get refunds, basically deceiving people, period, about this game. And even though it doesn't affect the U.S., which it should, and I think the United States need to get off their asses, at least the Congress who we voted in, and start taking a look at these companies and their practices and actually say, hey, listen, this is getting to be out of hand. You need to start, doing what you're doing and start paying up, because frankly, you're not helping us. You're making things worse. Please get up on your high horse and do what is necessary to make sure these publishers pay for these practices, because to me, they're taking advantage of the customers. They're giving an incomplete game, and to me, there's no excuse for that. It doesn't matter what publisher is. Fallout 76 had no reason for doing what they're doing, and I'm glad this is hitting them where it hurts, where they have to now give refunds. I hope this is a trickle-down effect where Congress get involved in my country, which to me they are slow as molasses concerned. But it's really sad. It really is. And people keep asking me, why don't you buy these modern games? Because I'm buying a game I don't own, and I'm buying a game that's incomplete. And for my money, for somebody who's paying all this money for a game that is incomplete, it is not within my best interest to do that. Especially when I got to be online all the time. And this is one of the reasons. Every time when I'm hoping that these gaming industry, the publishers prove me wrong, they keep proving me right. And Fallout 76 is no different. This was an absolute disgrace. And the sad part about it, it's been a full year. A full year. And they still haven't got it right. What is wrong with this company? Come on now. You guys used to be high prestige. This alone could threaten all the other future games you may have down the road from 2020 all the way up. Because of this. Is it worth it? The answer is no. They're looking for a short-term game, but not looking at the long-term cost. It's sad. And speaking of being sad, there's another game industry that's suffering from that. Another gaming industry that has actually had to do an about face. And right now, they're in serious trouble. They're in serious trouble. Ubisoft is in serious trouble right now. Their revenue stream has plummeted badly. And the only reason why I say they're going to go out of business is because their capital, it can pretty much sustain them for probably a year or two. See, that's the thing about it. You can lose a lot of money. As long as you have a capital that doesn't go under red, you're fine. But once that capital starts to shrink, then they're going to have to do something because, number one, if that capital goes down, they got no business. They simply got no business. The fact that there has been reports that they lost 93% of their revenue is never a good sign. That's death for a company. And you want to know why? Because they copy and paste a lot of stuff over and over and over again to the point where people are just not buying these games. They have wised up and not buying these games. Even if the games are good, which some of them were. Just to be honest, to their credit, there were some good games. It doesn't matter because their reputation alone have hurt them. The news about Rainbow Six latest installment and other games that are supposed to come out simultaneously got pushed back is a tall tale of how bad they are in the state. And the only thing I can say about it, the only good thing I can say about it is maybe now they're going to actually make a game that that has quality, that is worth $60, and not just throw out this and that, expecting people to gobble up every time. It's getting to be a point where it's becoming a problem, and that's the situation with that. And now let's get on to Blizzard Activision, or Activision Blizzard. BlizzCon came and went. I'm aware of one of the big dogs apologizing for the incident that has happened. I'm also aware that a lot of people are not buying it for many reasons. I've mentioned this before, and I'll say it again, and I'll say it with the respect towards those who are fighting for their freedom in Hong Kong. I wish them to be safe. I wish that no serious tragedies come before them. It is a very serious situation that's going on in China, Hong Kong, China at least. They do not want to be a part of the communist country, and it's led to a lot of blood, a lot of protests, and even violence towards the people as well as those of authority. And Blizzard had found himself in the middle of this. I was, for what I understand, was protesting, and as a result, he got punished for it. And my only conclusion to this is that the reason why this happened is because they are abiding and obeying the rules of that country. This is more about their rules more so than the U.S. rules. And a lot of people criticize them. I have no problem with them being criticized, but I also understood as a person who has studied business, who have understand the blind side of business. They made a business decision in terms of keeping the interests of whoever's in charge of regulating games, whether it's the government directly or just certain people who are assigned to it, happy. Because whatever money they're getting over there must be very, very sweet. And I still believe it to this day. I think this is an apology because, number one, they didn't think the people was going to care about it, and two, they really brought us distraction on something they was trying to do all year, and then yet they can't because, again, this situation come in. And yes, it's political, and yes, they deserve the criticism. But at the same time, I also understand that this was more about business than about morals. It's about keeping certain people from a certain country happy than pleasing the United States, or the people who live in the United States or Canada, or anyone who values democracy. We tend to forget that China is not a democratized country. It's a communist country that not just Activision Blizzard does business, but the United States as well. So when I hear any Congress, bashing Blizzard for their actions, all I gotta say is look yourself in the mirror, because you guys do business with this country all the time. That's the hypocrisy that I have a problem with. So that situation has happened, and only thing I can say is, when it comes to this, and I will say this, is I hope they are safe. I hope they're going to be maintaining themselves being safe, and that's the best way I can say it. Please be safe. But as for Activision, they did make an apology. Whether you believe it's genuine or not, I personally don't. I think this is pretty much damage control, because it's not just the events that's happened in the last few months, but also how they came off last year's BlizzCon. We don't forget about the Diablo Immortal and how that seemed to blow up in their face. The only reason why it's not been number one on many people's list of bungles is because we had Fallout to thank, and they're still making mistakes on the same game 1 year later. So at least with this, I can say, okay, it is an apology. You could choose to say, okay, they're genuine or not. But either way, they did address it. They did what they had to do. Do I believe them? Not really, because again, when first comes to shove, they have done other stuff involving censorship with this game. I mean, the evidence is right there. So unless they're going to make an announcement saying they are no longer going to censor players for voicing a political opinion, then it's all it is a smokescreen. That's all it is. So that's the situation here. Well, what's your opinion about the stuff I've just talked about? The gaming industry itself is damaged. It's gotten worse. You got the Y2K, the WWF game, which they introduced patches, making it one of the worst games of this year. You have the NBA 2K situation, the FIFA situation, the loot crate situation that's been happening, the hearings from Congress. It has been a very, very not so good year in terms of image-wise for these publishers. It really hasn't. And I don't see it getting any better anytime soon unless people stop buying these games. People start spending money for an incomplete game. People start letting their wallets do the talking more so than actual complaining online. Yet when I ask some of these guys, they still say we're about the game, well, they feel like this, and you're basically defeating the purpose. If you're still buying the game, that's all they care about. That's the real feedback they get. Being honest with you, that's the real feedback they get. Now, before I go, I wanted to address the Watchmen situation. I did see the episode. I actually did a separate video. I put it under the Comic Talk 360 banner, then the Entertainment Roundup banner. That will be out simultaneously. I probably will put both of these videos out side by side, about pretty much 12 hours apart from each other. It depends. I enjoyed the first two episodes. I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes. But it's really more about some of the controversy that has brewed between a very, very few. I'm going to make this very clear. It wasn't a big explosion. It's a very, very few people that has happened. And I'm very, very concerned that this will pretty much derail a little bit. And I explain why. However, I also felt that the stuff they are doing matches with the storyline and the plot that they are showing. There's a whole lot of stuff that hasn't been revealed yet, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what goes on. So if you guys want to check that out, be my guest. It's a standalone video. That's all I really talk about in there. It's not even long. It's probably 12 minutes, 13 minutes max. So if you want my honest opinion, you'll get it from there. Needless to say, it is dealing with race. There's no question about it. There's no way to deny it. But I think they're handling it maturely and with respect, and I think it deserves to be told in this manner. And this is again what separates the Watchmen lore from most of the comic books lore that we're seeing right now. Is they really are dealing with real political and social issues, but they're doing it in a way that is both engaging and entertaining, and also is opening your eyes of saying, hey, this is not a kiddie type storyline. There's real stuff going on, and this where you think this person is a hero or anything else, you're finding out there's more stuff that meets the eye from everyone involved in the story. So I'm very, very happy that they're doing that, and I encourage people, if you haven't seen Watchmen yet, which has actually gotten high praise from all over the place, by the way, but there are a certain few that don't want political and social commentary in here, and some people just outright saying is, basically blame the white man for this. It's pretty much white man's hate. I don't agree with that at all. I think that is not what they're gunning for. That's not what they're shooting for. But there are people who are throwing it out there, and I think it's a wrong exception of what these writers and creators have done with this show. You may not like it for that reason. That's fine. I have no problem with that. But to me, I think they're doing it right with the way they are telling the story. And as long as it stays focused on the story, don't go all over the place, I think it'll be just fine. I can't wait for Cobra Kai. Might as well talk about this. I almost forgot about that. It just came to my head. Cobra Kai is almost upon us, season 3. I can't wait to see it. But there is something that concerns me. One of the main stars of Cobra Kai is not coming back. Which, depending on how you view it, it may be a good thing or a bad thing. And it may just be for this season or just for the entire season. Let me try and read if I can bring it up here. From what the article have said, and from what I've been reading, Nicole Brown, Asia, is no longer going to be part of Cobra Kai. That is something that has been confirmed, and I was kind of surprised that has actually happened. This is something that is on Reddit. I'm going to read what it says here. This is the official Cobra Kai subreddit. It says here, okay, let me see. It says here that Nicole Brown will no longer be a part of Cobra Kai cast. Should they even mention her character in season 3? Should they write her off? They're not going to write her off. I mean, she's been in 2 of the seasons. I think that is a big mistake. And I think that they're going to actually mention it. She will probably do if they didn't like what happened and how they got involved with the situation. And they decided that it was best for her to move away. That's the best way I can see they doing it. I don't see any other way they can do it but that. They're not going to kill her off, but they are going to make it where she has moved away. According to some people, they say it's probably for the best. But I think this is actually a move that if you read the storyline, if you read from what was going on, she had mentioned something, I believe, on Twitter and Facebook that this was not her choice, and it couldn't come at a bad time because of her health issues. She needs the money, which, by the way, I hope her the best. I hope that she gets her personal issues in order. From what I understand, this has been something going on for a while. I do not think they fired her because, number one, she did a bad job. I think she was one of the highlights of the film, of the show. She was one of the most level-headed. She wasn't letting the code of Cobra Kai get to her head. She was more reasonable than most of the Cobra Kai characters, including one of the main male leads. But you got to ask yourself what direction they're going to go. From what I understand, they're going to be out of the element. They're going to go back to the roots and do the origin, as well as we have a situation where it could possibly be an origin story of some of the cast that's going to happen. So I'm surprised they're doing this the way they're doing it. But I don't think it's a bad thing either. I just think it's a decision. This is not the first they have done it. I remember Smallville. There was an actress that was there in the last 2 episodes. She was gone and she never came back. So they have done this before. And I think this is going to be part of that aftermath of that ridiculously entertaining but just stupid brawl, which she was never involved in. So obviously that will probably be the aftermath. That will probably be the effect, and that will pretty much write her off the set. You probably won't see her. It'll probably be mentioned in canon that, hey, her father did not like what went on. For her own safety, for her own daughter's safety, he's taken her out of the element. He regrets her being in Cobra Kai after that situation, and just give her that kind of exit. Personally, I think it sucks. I really do. I didn't like this character, and from what I've been seeing on her social posts, things are not doing very well financially for her. I don't know how much they paid her. I mean, I'm being honest with you, I don't know if she's been getting a lot of money or not. It doesn't sound like she was. Um, so I'm hoping that she can get back on her feet as fast as she could, especially when she has a medical issue. Do I think it played a part on this? I don't think it did. Because, like I said before, I think this is because of the direction Cobra Kai is taking. This is season 3. From what I've been reading, they're going to go with a more of an origin story for both Dojos. JoJo's. I'm sorry, I know I may say that word. My apologies, especially for those who teaches the arts of martial arts, whether it's karate, kung fu. My apologies to that. But I'll just call it Jim. And I think it's more to that. They're going to go to the root of Miyagi-Do. They're going to all go to the root of Cobra Kai. You're going to see a connection finally between the two masters, the two senseis. Because throughout the 2 seasons, I always said that these guys are so blinded by their own hatred for each other, they don't realize they actually have something in common. And if they actually sit down and express themselves how the events of the first Karate Kid movie, the events of that All Valley tournament has affected them, I think they're finding they're not too far-fetched from one another, and they might find a common goal. It's going to be a shame that it may have to take them teaming up, which I do believe they're going to team up. I don't see how this could go any other way than them teaming up against John Reese. John Reese has Cobra Kai, and believe me, that doesn't seem good for anybody else. Where do everybody else play in the part? I think Hawk is going to be where Johnny was at. I think there's going to be a more of a conflict with Sam LaRusso. I think she is going to be more. There's going to be a big twist, and you're going to have Allie, which is going to be something that's going to be also a big twist. But you're going to have a lot of these characters. The rivalry is going to get more heated. It's going to be a very, very, very intense and even darker scenario than one. There's also been talked about a couple other stars coming back. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if that's actually a good thing or a bad thing, especially if they're the same idiots that they were. These are the characters from Karate Kid Part 3. I do not know if that's a good thing or a bad thing or not. I will hold judgment until now. Like I said, I was holding judgment. I heard rumors that the original Cobra Kai boys was going to be reunite. I didn't see how that was going to be possible, but the way they did it with that episode, which by the way is the best episode of season 3, bar none. The heartfelt they have for each other, the friendship they have for each other, and the tragic death of one of their own really hit home in a way that I say, this is how you write a story. And you see John, that infamous scene when him and Tommy, they're sitting in the fireplace. He's explaining that he doesn't want to make the same mistakes that he didn't want his students to make the same mistakes. And seeing the confidence that he had, he said he has time. I know you'll do well because you're the champ. That was a heartfelt thing. It was even more sad when he passed away. And by the way, the actor, how ironic is this? And may he rest in peace. Rob Garrison, who also died, I believe at the age of 59. And I do not know what was the cause of death, but he was seen to be sick for quite some time. Went to the hospital and he passed away from there. So that episode has more of a meaning now than when I first stopped seeing it. So what do I feel about this? Again, I'm very disappointed that very saddened, more so than disappointed that she's not going to be in the season. I hope that she finds new work. I think she deserves another acting gig. If she's not going to be in there, no sense sitting around. I hope that that she gets her medical bills in order. I hope that will help. I know she did a GoFundMe page. I'm actually going to be looking into that myself. And I just hope that she can get on her feet. I think that's a huge loss for the character. But at the same time, I can sort of understand where they're going with this. And also keep in mind, again, if John Reese has taken over she may not fit into his mold. Don't be surprised if there are going to be a lot of people leaving, and he integrated some people who fits into that philosophy, that very very backwards philosophy of strike first, strike hard, no mercy. A very dangerous philosophy, as we all see in the season finale of Cobra Kai. Well, what's your opinion? I'd like to hear what you have to say. I'd like to hear your own thoughts about it, especially for those who are Cobra Kai fans, Watchmen fans, gamers out there, those who are paying tribute or have memories of John Witherspoon, their favorite movies on that he's been through, his favorite comedic work. Let me know on the comment section. Until next time, J77 saying take care, be safe, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.